Okay, so this is the rare occasion, believe it or not, where I'm not live. I don't even know what to do with myself. This is bizarre. But cheers, welcome to Todd Time Live, in which I'm not live. Welcome to Todd Time. What are we working on today? So I have a comic, Paratrauma, written by Duane and Sam Ibrahim. They brought me on last year. Let me get a sip of that. They brought me on last year as an artist, and we had a successful Kickstarter campaign. I did the first 7 pages. I finished the first 7 pages. I have layouts for the remain up to page 15, and then now I've got to work on layouts for the remaining pages. So basically what has happened up until now in this story is we're following our character Wolf. Wolf is a young homeless man who is clearly struggling with some addiction issues. He's wandering while being observed by another primary character, our main character, Triple M. And along the way, Triple M is narrating some things as you're given the impression that he's aware of what's going on here with Wolf. So up until this point in the book, some stuff has happened. The last 7 pages are going to be fairly action-packed. There's going to have to be a lot of movement captured and energy captured. Wolf's powers are just coming to be. He's not aware of them. This is the very first time that they've happened upon him, and he doesn't know what he's doing. So, in the meantime, what we're going to do, between sips of coffee, of course, is, and here's my camera set up. There's 2 of them right now. Usually there's 3. Whatever. We don't need this part. So, we're going to read some of the script, and I'm going to walk you through the process that I go through when I do page layouts. And I will be the first to admit, this is not a taught way. This is just how I do it because I'm me. Admittedly, for the last 15 years of my professional freelance career, I wasn't doing anything comic related. It wasn't until about 2 years ago that I rediscovered my love for this craft and just went like hardcore on it. That's why you're seeing me now. I have 120,000 followers across social media. My skills have jumped leaps and bounds since I started this back in February 2021. My competence, my confidence, my repertoire, my skills, my tools, all of those things have grown massively in these last 2 years, but they're nowhere close to where I like them to be. For sequential art like what we're about to be doing especially. That being said, when I'm going through this and I am still perfecting it, I'm trying to look at not just what's happening in the story, draw that part of the story and move on to the next panel. Draw that part of the story and move on to the next panel. Draw that part of the story and move on to the next panel. I'm not interested in that. What I'm interested in is I want the page, the entire page, to be its own piece of artwork. I want it to be its own entity that has movement and flow and energy and pace and color balance and value balance, and all of those things should be working together to tell the story of beyond the individual panels. And then when you look beyond that, you would go, okay, and then what do I want the whole book to look like? So I'm going to go back, I'm going to read where we are in the story. I'm going to start getting a grasp of what I want to happen next. I'm pretty sure I remember here, but we gotta get a refresh because it's been a couple months since I've worked on this. But yeah, so that's what we're gonna do for the next several minutes. Luckily, this is going to be cut and edited, which is gonna make this a lot easier. I'll have a lot less pressure to be entertaining while I'm doing the necessary. So let's see if I can find where we have this. Okay. Let's see if we can video how often I zone out into nothing. It's been a lifesaver. Social media, you have been a lifesaver as an artist. I will say you are equally a pain in my ass. I am both super grateful for you and I hate your guts. Ask my wife if this is what I look like most of the time. Okay, where did I save? There it is. That's what I'm looking for. So here's what we're doing on this particular page. We'll talk about this particular page, and maybe we won't record all the other ones, but we'll see. We'll record them, whether we put them out or not, we'll see. So we're at the point where Wolf has, the bathroom is shattering around him. I need to make sure I add those notes here. Okay, so he's going to be floating in the bathroom, but we're going to be seeing things hopefully exploding and stuff around him here. And then we're going to... Cool, so I have this green border set around the page. That green border represents my bleed area. I don't want anything important beyond those borders, basically. So what do we have happening here? Wolf fell, bathroom is shattering all around him. He's being interrupted by the bartender who hears all of this, knocking on the door, bang, 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 knock, knock, knock. He falls to the floor. What the hell's going on? This isn't good for businessman. Wolf mumbling, drunk and stoned, I am the business. Wolf brings himself to his feet but cuts his hand on a shard of porcelain on the way up. So what we need to show, we need to decide here. So we need to decide here, do we want to show the bartender in this page screaming, what the hell is going on? This isn't good for business. And then him saying, I am the business. Or do we want to move that? It probably needs to be in here. Maybe. So I would be thinking, because what are we going to want to happen? We need to see the continuity. We need to keep in mind what's happening on the previous page, and then what we want to happen in the subsequent pages. In those subsequent pages, we are introducing a character who is not in the previous pages. So we need to make it, we need to somewhat introduce him, right? He'll be kind of in the background. But we don't just want to jump from seeing Wolf falling on the floor, and then the next scene is some guy screaming, what the hell is going on in there, right? Because that won't necessarily make sense from transfer to transfer, depending on how I crop the shot. We need to make it clear that here, knock, 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 I'll probably add a third knock here. It would be great if I could add in, if I could show the door in this one. with the voice coming through the door, or maybe let's see here, maybe we do a panel of a guy banging on a door, knock, and then zoom in on the hand more each time. It's kind of one of this Todd McFarlane thing. And so I'm doing this on a new layer because if I want to get rid of it easily, right, I don't want to have to like erase around all this stuff. I can just throw that in and have some concept of what's happening. So I'm imagining somebody's voice and then him screaming what the hell is going on in there. Now, here's where you start playing around with some things, right? So instead of making this whole thing a whole other page, I'm trying to bring all of this into one page in an aesthetically pleasing manner. So he's zoomed out, the hand is zoomed out. Now, we can kind of play this one of two ways. And I think this is the right way. Both items out as they're coming in closer, right? But I think I want to move this over here, okay, this over here, and I've got to keep that out of the way of this part of it, so I'm going to have to move this separately. No. This is why digital is awesome. So the way I would have to do this, this is not terrible. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. When we come in with the text, maybe we'll go, what the hell is going on isn't good for business. And maybe instead of going left to right, we're going to go like do all the body panels. And I think we'll include him in each. And we might change the knock knock to bang bang or something. So I haven't figured it out yet, but I will somehow make the banging and the knocking text work together with these panels to separate the two and to show this progression. Cool. I actually like this better. Great. So what does that mean? We saved ourselves a couple panels of work for the next page. And I may tweak this around. I do like having him kind of facing away because it's like that superhero dark moment where they're just becoming aware of their powers or whatever. So I like that. That doesn't help us on the next page, but what it does do is it creates a moment where Wolf brings himself up to his feet but cuts his hand on a short of porcelain on the way up. Let's see. This one he's down. Make it where like the broken sink is over here. That way that should hopefully set up a broken sink here with his hand reaching up. How would I show that? So we could show the sink again. So sink. Sometimes I have to draw. So I'm gonna have his head down still. Okay, this is starting to make sense. Okay, so I'll probably cut a lot of that out, but what that does is that starts to establish that he's raising his hand up. Which I know all this sounds like rudimentary, but how do you show a hand getting cut by something like that? Right? So we've got to indicate that his hand is moving towards the sink, and then first thing I want to see is, yeah, let's see, a hand kind of, this is one of those challenging things where it's like, okay, how do I show? So I want to be able to see what's happening on the hand. So this would be one of those scenarios where, like, somewhat of a reference is going to be helpful. A reference would be helpful. So let's say this is the corner of the sink, and I want to capture that, like maybe he like scraped like this, because you want to be able to see what's happening without changing the camera angle too much. So he reaches for, cuts his hand. Let's maybe do a third panel of the screen. Okay, now what I'd really like to do, if you can do it in one panel, don't do it in three, right? So I would like to figure out how to maybe combine this one with that one, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. So one of the things I can do here is make this one panel, like make it one image, but break it up into two panels. Okay, so he grabs this. So the next difficult transition here is goes grab the sink, cuts his hand. Now this is important because later on in the story he wipes his face and it's covered in blood, which makes him look even crazier. What's the next possible thing? We could show the jagged sink and him. So he has cut his hand. It's kind of the concept I'm going for is, owie, I've cut my hand on the sink. The next step is him getting up to the door. This is where it's challenging, and you writers, I love you very much. You think in terms of movies and capturing film and all of these actions, which is understandable. Like that's what your job is to do. But when it's sequential art, like you have to be very picky about the things that occur, because illustrating them without the page becoming just a mess of busy panels, we're not getting 24 frames a second or 60 frames a second like they do nowadays. You get one frame per minute. Okay, I got an idea here. This is feeling okay. So we'll move this over here. Cut his hand, screams, holding the hand. Okay, so he's getting up. And see, this is kind of what you have to think through. Like, can I tell the story without showing all of this stuff? So what I really want to show is him reaching for the bathroom handle. This look. Okay, we're getting somewhere. So what is the challenge that I'm running into here? Right? So we're going left to right, top to bottom. The only problem I have is here. That's what we need to do. So what we need to do, camera-wise, here's the issue. We're currently behind him. We move to in front of him. Okay. That's not terrible. But then we're kind of far away and beside him, with him facing left. Then we're far away beside him and he's starting to stand up, but he's walking towards the door this way, but we're reading this way. So what I would really like to have happen is is to show him standing up and moving towards the door going this way. So, how do I need to do that? So ideally, what we would do, we're going to take that. We're going to keep the sink. Maybe we'll move the sink to the right here, like we've circled around him at this point. Actually, let's do it this way. Okay, now does that work? Starting to get somewhere here. I really, sometimes you got to make decisions. Like, I was going to have it be his right hand that got all cut up, but if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Okay, reaches up, cuts his hand, screams in pain, stands up, starts to stumble to the door. So he's held his hand here. His hand's all bleeding here. Starts to reach for the door. Cool. Okay. I'm somewhat digging this. That's about an hour of stuff. We could probably take a quick break here and come back to this. But we're on the right track. Be right back.